Welcome back. In our recent video, we delved into the basic attack vectors targeting large language models, LLMs, and discussed strategies for mitigating. So one of the most common questions was, is this true for Chat-GPT or is this true for Gemini? Are these models also vulnerable, and is it possible to attack these models with the same strategies? Well, and the answer is yes, but. Let's talk about the but. LLMs, or large language models, are AI systems designed for text comprehension and generation. And they come in various scales. We have the standard LLMs. These are moderately sized models with a substantial amount of data, such as smaller versions of GPT-BERT or company internal models. And we have so-called large-scale LLMs. These are advanced models with billions of parameters in vast data sets like GPT-4o and meta models and so on and so on. So are larger models more secure? Well, not directly. Executing attacks on large-scale LLMs requires simply significant resources. So we talk about state-sponsored actors. With their advanced capabilities, they pose a substantial threat. And consequently, even through large-scale models might be more resilient against less equipped attackers, they still need comprehensive security measures to effectively counter sophisticated attack. Let's have a simple example. Look at a model stealing attack. So we start by sending queries to an API to gather enough responses to train a similar model. That works fine in a lab environment. But what is about real life? Large models like Gemini are trained on vast datasets and have billions of parameters. Extracting a model of this size and complexity requires an enormous amount of queries and computational resources. Also, providers are not amateurs anymore. APIs providing access to large models often implement rate limiting and monitoring to detect unusual patterns of query that might indicate model stealing attempts. This makes it harder to send the large number of queries needed for effective model extraction. Typically, they also incorporate various security measures to protect against extraction attacks. This can include using differential privacy techniques, watermarking outputs, or implementing anomaly detection systems. There's a lot of things you can do. Stealing a large LLM is pointless. Training a copy requires immense resources, making it impractical for most attackers. So you see the problem. Yes, the provider added extra security, but the biggest issue is the model size and the associated firepower you need to crack it. If the attacker has access to some supercomputers with the latest NVIDIA toys and a team of genius experts, things are much easier. And this is then called a state-sponsored attack. And this is what we are looking for. Okay, what is the biggest risk for large-scale LLMs? Yes, you guess it. The number one risk is data poisoning. Actually, the most simple attack, but it is not that simple anymore. However, let's look at a typical hypothetical attack. A state-sponsored group aims to subtly influence public opinion and decision-making in a rival country by manipulating the output of a widely used LLM. Let's focus on economic policies. The attackers collect a large volume of data related to economic policies from various sources, including news articles, research papers, blogs, social media posts. They ensure that significant portions of this data contains subtle biases that align with their agenda. For example, portraying a specific economic profile or policy as highly beneficial or detrimental. They then contribute the biased data to public datasets for training LLMs, such as large-scale web crawls, open data repositories, and collaborative data collection projects. If they know how, it is a simple thing. To avoid detection, the attackers ensure that the biased data is mixed with a large amount of neutral or unbiased content. The biased entries are carefully crafted to appear legitimate and credible, of mimicking the style and tone of a trusted source. The biases are subtle and nuanced, avoiding extreme or overtly false information to prevent rising red flags during data curation and then pre-processing stages. Simply they stay under the radar. The attackers strategically time their data contributions to coincide with periods where the LLM developers are likely to collect new training data. This could be during major updates, new version releases, or scheduled retraining phases. They also engaged in coordinated campaigns on social media and online forums to spread biased information. So it's not just a simple attack in one way, it's a multi-faceted attack on data. These platforms are commonly scraped for training data, thus increasing the chances of biased information being included in future training datasets. The attackers continuously monitor the output of the target LLM through a public API or interface to gauge the effectiveness of their poisoning campaign. They adapt their strategies based on observed changes in the model behavior, refining the biases in subsequent data injections. So, it's very simple. No, not that simple. Over time, the LLM begins to generate responses that subtly reflect the biases introduced by the poisoned data. For example, when asked about economic policies, the model may consistently highlight the purported benefits of a specific policy favored by the attackers or undermine the credibility of an opposing policy. Same is for election manipulation. Same is for I don't know what kind of manipulation of the public opinion. So another effect, widespread dissemination, credibility erosion. How to get rid of this? Can we stop it? It is not that easy. As we discussed on deepfakes from state-sponsored attackers, it's not simple. To mitigate data poisoning attacks of this size, all parties must collaborate. We need data validation and cleaning. Companies, providers, and governments should work together to establish robust data validation processes using automated tools, manual reviews, and training for data quality and security. Also, companies and providers should utilize diverse and regular updated data sources, while governments can promote this practice through regulations and research support. Anomaly detection. Companies can develop and deploy anomaly detection systems, while providers offer relevant metadata and context of data. Governments can fund research and encourage adoption through policies. And finally, adversarial training, the most important part. Companies can employ adversarial training techniques and regularly test models, while providers offer tools and datasets for such training. Government funding and best practices can further strengthen this approach. Continuous monitoring is so important. Companies need continuous monitoring systems with regular audits, while providers share best practices. Governments can mandate regular audits for critical AI systems and provide resources. This collaborative effort across companies, data providers, and governments is crucial for protecting against data poisoning attacks and all other type of large-scale attacks, state-sponsored attacks against AI models. So what are the roles and responsibility of each party in preventing data poisoning attacks? Just summarize it. Companies need to design and implement robust validation, cleansing, and monitoring processes. They must educate their staff on data poisoning risk and work closely with providers and governments to ensure data integrity. Providers are responsible for ensuring high-quality, accurate, and updated data. They should offer support tools for validation and monitoring. Governments must establish and enforce data quality and security standards, support research and development of secure technologies, and promote public awareness of data poisoning risk. In general, public awareness of the risk of AI, public awareness of updated special threats, manipulation, deepfakes, and so on and so on. This is so important. So by working together, companies, providers, and governments can create a robust defense against sophisticated data poisoning attacks and against other sophisticated attacks against large-scale language models. Okay, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe for more insights on AI security. Please comment. It is so important that we at least have a little discussion coming up. Thanks a lot again.